Country Club members. I am here today to go through a 15-minute upper body workout with you. So I'm going to have you go ahead and go over to your kitchen table or a countertop, and we're going to get started with the first exercise. So we're going to start with push-ups. What I'm going to have you do here is set your hands at the counter about shoulder distance apart, and then take your feet out about hip distance apart. And then you're going to bring your hips forward. So we don't want your hips shooting back. We want your body in a straight line or a plank. And then from there, we're going to bring the chest towards the counter and push back out. So I want you to think about keeping your elbows close to your body if you can. If you need to take the elbows wide, that works too. Just make sure your hands are wide enough so that feels comfortable on your joints. So I want you to always be aware throughout the workout that you're doing this at the level that works for you, and you're feeling the workout, but you're not feeling any pain or discomfort. Maybe some muscle fatigue, but that's it. So I'm moving nice and slow here. I'm keeping my core real strong and engaged. And I'm targeting my chest, shoulders, and arms. So we're going to do 3 more repetitions. I'm taking care not to lock my elbows when I push. On this last one, I'm just going to hold that position. I'm going to position my hands flat on the table in the same plank position, and then I'm going to do what we call a shoulder tap without letting my body move. I'm trying to tap my shoulder. So this is really working your chest, shoulders, and core. I'm trying to keep my core strong so that my hips rock as little as possible. So stability in all those areas. If you need to make this easier, you can take your feet wider. You're going to be more stable that way. The other thing you can do is go to a higher countertop or do this against the wall. If you want to make this harder, you're going to move your feet in. And the idea is just to find a level that works for you, that challenges you, and you're able to get through those repetitions with good form. So we're going to do 1 more on each side, and then we're going to go back into 5 more push-ups, keeping the elbows close, just to try to fatigue those triceps, chest and shoulder muscles. Take that last one down. See if you can hold at the bottom. 3, 2, 1, and then push back, and you can step forward. Okay, on to the next exercise. So you're going to grab your set of weights. We're going to take our feet about hip distance, a little bit narrow, and then you're going to start with the knee bend and hinge forward. So from here, my weights are hanging straight down from my shoulders, and I'm going to go ahead and start a row. So I'm doing a mid-back row in a bent over position. Every time I come up, I'm consciously pinching my shoulder blades together. So I'm trying to target the upper mid-back. We refer to those as the postural muscles, the rhomboids, if you're familiar with some of the muscle groups. Now, if you're not comfortable hinging forward, maybe your low back fatigues or you have osteoporosis, you're going to do this with support. So then you're going to do 1 arm at a time. You're going to put the opposite foot in front, and then you're going to pull that weight straight up to your chest. So if you're doing double arm, keep going. Otherwise, we're going to do an equal amount on each arm. So that just takes us down a level, but it also supports your low back. If you need the back supported, use that hand on the counter. And then we're going to finish our last one and go to the next set. So next we're going to be targeting shoulders. For shoulders, I'm going to have you start with your feet shoulder distance apart. So you've got a nice strong base, and then 1 arm at a time, you're going to push that arm overhead and then bring it down and tuck that elbow back in next to your rib cage. So as you do your shoulder press, you're rotating So we're targeting the front deltoid and the top deltoid when we do these. I'm standing tall. I'm trying not to shift my lower body at all. You want to think about, your posture as you're pushing the weight overhead. You do not want to be hinging forward here. You want to keep a little knee bend, and that keeps the load off your joints. So it protects the low back, it protects the knees, all those ligaments behind the knees, and then you can work the shoulders effectively. So as I rotate, I'm still going straight up overhead, and I'm trying to exhale as I push the weight. We usually exhale during exertion. So now I'm going to go to the second half of this set, doing both weights at the same time. They're going to come together at the top, and then slow repetitions on the way down. That's called the eccentric phase of the workout. When you're lowering the weights, you can gain a lot of strength that way. So we're emphasizing the eccentric phase of this exercise. I'm going to keep my shoulders down from my ears, even though I'm pushing the weights up. So you can just be aware that the neck stays long, the chin stays level, and the shoulders stay down. So we'll do 3 more here. Nice and slow as we lower. Can you feel that resistance? That's good. You always want to use a weight that challenges you. This is a 1-set workout, so you should feel pretty fatigued at the end of that set. And then we're going to go right into the next shoulder exercise. So from here, I'm just going to bring my feet in a little bit more narrow, make sure I have a knee bend, and we're going to do a lateral raise. Sometimes these are harder for people. It's a smaller muscle group. We're just targeting the top of the shoulder now. If you need to go down in weight, you can do that. Do a weight that you're comfortable with. You shouldn't feel this too much in your neck. So my goal is to take the weights up to about shoulder distance. I do have an elbow bend here. You want to make sure that you keep an elbow bend. And again, keep your shoulders down from your ears as you're doing the repetitions. So we're going to do 2 more here, and then we're going to go into some alternating reps. That's great. So take your right arm and lift it, hold at the top, and then lower slowly. And the other side. Pause and lower slowly. So you feel how you work a little bit harder when you slow down the pace. That's one of our tricks for making our clients work harder and fatigue sooner, is to slow down the pace. We don't want to use momentum. We want to make the muscles do the work. So I'm going to have you do 1 more on each side, and then we're going to go back to both arms. We'll finish out the set with both arms, slow repetitions. So we're going to do 8 more repetitions, nice and slow as we lower. Very good. So you're really mindful of what muscles you're using and thinking about the form, thinking about the breathing. Should be starting to feel some fatigue up in the top of the shoulders here. We'll do 3 more. Remember, you're exhaling as you lift. And almost done, last one. And then bring it down, relax. You can roll out your shoulders a little bit there. And then we're going to get set up for upright row. So your feet can be slightly apart, a little wider than you had them for the last set. You're going to start with your weights in front, overhand grip, and you're going to pull your weights up to chest level. So this is called an upright row. You're working your upper back with your shoulders. It's another good exercise for posture. So I'm not hinging forward at all here. I'm really, using my core to keep my spine tall and supported so that I can work my shoulders effectively. Hopefully you're feeling this. We're going to do 6 more repetitions on the upright row, and then we'll move out of the shoulder group into triceps and biceps. So again, the shoulders are staying down from the ears, the elbows are lifting. Sometimes that's tricky. If you need to practice this in front of the mirror, it can really help so you can see what your body's doing. It can be hard when you're first learning just to feel it. So we'll do one more for good measure. And then you're coming down. And again, if you want to roll out the shoulders a little bit, that's great. They're fatiguing somewhat, but we're going to go into triceps next. So for triceps, I'm going to cue you the same way. If you need support, you're going to come to that table and you're going to start your triceps this way. So you've got the opposite foot in front. You're going to be pushing back with that single arm. The important thing here is that the back of the arm stays in place, that elbow stays lifted. So we're going to do 2 more on this side. Squeezing to the back, and then we're going to switch that out. So the elbow starts lifted and it stays lifted. That way you can really isolate the back of the upper arm. Those are muscles that don't get used so much from day to day, so it's important to keep them strong and do the exercises to do so. We'll do 3 more repetitions here, and then I'm going to show you if you want to go to double arm. If you don't need the table for support, you can move with me to double. Okay, so for double arm, you're going to be hinging forward. Your elbows are going to start way back. You're going to be pushing straight back and then coming forward. Now, the core is going to be super engaged here to protect your lower back and spine, and that way you can work those triceps without putting any undue stress on your lower back. If this doesn't work for you, go ahead and go back to the table, and you can do the single arm version. When you're tipped forward, you do want to keep the alignment through the spine. So if you think about your neck and just keeping your cervical vertebrae aligned, that means probably not looking straight down at your feet, but looking maybe 12 or 18 inches out from your toes. We don't have the chin tucked all the way into the chest. We have it slightly away from the chest. You could fit a golf ball under your chin. We're going to do 3 more repetitions. You should be feeling them by now. I want you to feel like you're really squeezing when you get to the back each time. And then we'll bring it up. So that's the end of the tricep set. We're going to go to biceps. Now for biceps, you have the option, I'm going to give you the option of adding a balance element. So normally, so far we've done everything on 2 feet. On this set, I'm going to give you the option of either putting your kickstand down, that means lifting one foot mostly off the floor, or picking it up completely. Find a focal point if you're going to balance. Find something to look at, and that's going to help with the balance. So we're going to do a bicep curl, working the front of the arms. If you don't want the balance element, if you're not ready for that yet, that's okay. You can do toes on the floor. If that's too hard for you, you can do a staggered stance this way, so both feet are on the floor. And if you just want to go traditional, you're here. So lots of options to progress and to improve your balance as you do these. Now, if you are on one leg, we're going to go ahead and take just a couple seconds in between and switch feet. So you start with the kickstand down, bring it up. We're going to turn the weights or the hands out wide. Your elbows are going to stay close to your body. And as you do your wider curls, you're going to notice that you're working the bicep still, but it's more the inner bicep. So just targeting different side of that muscle. So if you need to go to both feet, that's perfectly fine. Do the balance as long as you can, challenge yourself. You'll notice that if you work on that a little bit every day, it does get easier. So hopefully you're feeling the work in the upper arms. I've got one more set here. Just keeping the weights down by your side. Bring the feet in narrow this time. turn the palms in, and we're gonna do a hammer curl. So you notice the difference in the arm positioning on the hammer curl. It's a narrow placement. And again, I'm keeping my elbows down by my side, keeping my shoulders down from my ears, really controlling the motion in both directions. So I'm not swinging the weights or using momentum. I'm controlling the weights in both directions. We are going to do one more repetition here, and then we'll finish this set out with some pulses. So what you're going to do is turn the weights palms up again, come about midway, so your forearms are parallel to the floor, and then we're going to pulse. Keep a little knee bend, stand tall, focus on the upper arms. We'll go 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you can bring the weights down slowly. Excellent. So that's it for biceps. Next, we're going to go to overhead triceps. If you have trouble taking your arms overhead, you are going to go back and do a second set of kickbacks, okay? Otherwise, we're going to take the feet shoulder distance, take the weights up, make sure you're bending your knees, and then we're pushing straight overhead. I like to do a variety of tricep exercises because it does tend to be one of the weaker muscle groups in the upper body. And like I mentioned earlier, it just doesn't get worked so much from day to day. A lot of clients talk to me about how they want to really target that area. We know we can't spot reduce, but we can make an area stronger by working it a little bit more, put some emphasis there. Now notice when I'm doing these, the elbows are staying close to me. I'm not letting the elbows pop out. I'm keeping them in real close. And then I'm getting as much range of motion as I can. We're going to do 5 more repetitions. Exhaling as we push up. Again, keeping a little knee bend. 3 more. 2 more. Hopefully you're feeling the back of the arms. And 1. Okay, and bring the weights down. So next we're going to go to a bent over raise. This is for the back of the shoulder. Again, a muscle group we don't use as much, but it helps with posture. So we're tipping forward. We're going to lift those weights out to the side. So this is different from the lateral raise we did earlier when we were standing upright. When you bend forward, it targets the back of the shoulders. Now, if bending forward doesn't work for you, do you remember what we did earlier? You're here. Okay? So you can take that same movement and you're going to do single arm. I'll just demonstrate with 4. And then we'll switch. Go to the other side. We've got an elbow bend. We always want to be mindful to be soft on the joints. Continue with single arm if you need to. Go back to that first arm, and we're going to do 8 more repetitions. Double arm if you're still doing double. So the last 4 repetitions are going to be real slow, bringing the weights down. So here we go. The last 4 repetitions are up, and then resist, resist, resist. Slowly lower. Good. And again. Really working the lowering phase. Feeling the fatigue, hopefully, because we're finishing up the set. And last one. Maybe a little trembling if you're tired is a good thing. Okay, and that's it for deltoids. So now we're going to go onto the mat. What we'll do is get you on your back. And bring your weights with you. I hope you guys are feeling great. You're almost done with your upper body workout. Starting with the weights together, you're going to roll back. Keep your knees bent so that your back is supported. I want your spine neutral here, so if you have a little curve in your back, it's okay if that's off the mat. Starting with the pullover, I want you to get a nice stretch overhead, and then pull the weights forward, just past chest level. So here too, I'm doing both weights together. Trying to keep my spine pressed down so that I don't go beyond neutral. I'm not letting a big arch creep into my back. Now, if you want to challenge yourself more on this, you can separate your weights. So just take your weights 2 to 4 inches apart. Your arms have to work individually that way. And you will notice that you're not quite as steady. So just a little bit more of a challenge for the individual arms here. And sometimes we're not perfectly symmetrical, so one side might be a little bit stronger than the other. And when you separate the weights, that really reminds the weaker side to keep up, to do its portion of the work. So we're going to do one more repetition here. That's a nice stretch. And then we're going to come to that starting position over the chest. And we're going to turn the weights end to end. So we're going to go into a dumbbell press. So your elbows are going to stop you on the floor. And then you're going to push your weights up and in at the top. You don't want to go too wide here, but the weights do come apart at the bottom. You're going to inhale as you lower, exhale as you push. We will be doing some alternating reps here. We're going to do 3 more. The nice thing about the dumbbells, again, is that your arms have to work independently. It's different from being on a machine or even with the barbell. Doing 1 more. And then starting from the top, I'm going to take my right arm down and up, and then the left. So alternating reps. The arm that stays in the air is working, so you want to make sure you're not locking that elbow. You want to keep a slight bend in the elbow. Hopefully you're feeling the work here. That's pecs, shoulders, triceps. And we're going to do 2 more on each side. Almost done with this set. Like I was saying, it's 1 set on each exercise, so you should feel like you're fatiguing near the end, otherwise you can get heavier weights for next time. Now we're going to do 6 more repetitions slow. So you're pushing up really slow and controlled, still coming together at the top. Coming down, your elbows will stop you on the floor. If you have a bench at your house, you can use a bench to lay on. Some people like to do these on a foam roller. You'll get a little bit more range of motion on the foam roller. You'll also work your core more. Otherwise, just doing this on the mat, on the floor is perfect. So I really slowed down the pace, pushing up to create some good fatigue at the end, and this will be the last one. And then from there, we have 1 more exercise. So what we're going to do is take the weights back up, separate them, and start with the arms really straight over the shoulders. Now relax your neck, engage your core, and then we're doing tricep extensions. So you're going to push from the elbow, you're pushing those weights towards the ceiling. 1 last tricep exercise. You're also working your shoulder stabilizers because they're working to keep the upper arms still. If your arms get a little shaky here, that's okay. Just keep your eyes open. I want you to know where the weights are going. They're coming towards your face. You want to make sure that you've got good control on those dumbbells. This is the very last exercise of this upper body workout. We're going to do 5 more repetitions and that'll be it. Doing this the first time, if you felt like it was pretty light, pretty easy, go ahead and get a little bit heavier weight the second time. You'll be able to gauge it off of that, and you will get stronger as you do this workout multiple times. So we're going to finish the last one here. Push it up, bring the weights down. You're going to set your weights on the side of the mat. Pull your knees into your chest, get a little bit of a stretch there. Roll onto your side if you need to be careful sitting up, or you can roll yourself up. Thanks for joining me. That completes the upper body session for today. I hope you have a great day. Take care. Hi Troon Country Club members, I am here today to go through a lower body workout with you. So let's go ahead and grab our weights and we're going to get started. The first set is going to be just traditional squats. So you're going to take your feet a little wider than your shoulders with your toes turned slightly out. Hold your weights down by your side and then drop down into your heels. We're going to do these repetitions nice and slow so you can be thinking about your form and your technique. I want you to think about keeping your torso lifted so we're not dropping the chest. Sometimes it helps to keep your eyes raised. That'll keep your chin lifted and therefore your torso raised as well. The other thing you can be thinking about is keeping your core muscles engaged. If your core is engaged, your lower back is going to be supported and your spine is going to be protected. So when you're doing your squats, you're working most of the major muscles around your hips and knees. You're working leg strength, lower body strength. So we're going to do one more squat here, and then we're going to go to the next exercise. So you can shake that out a little bit. And next we're going to go to curtsy lunges. So I'm going to start you with your feet in the same position, about shoulder distance apart. Keep your torso tall. On the curtsy lunges, you're going to step to the back, bend both knees, and then come around and come through. We're going to alternate sides. So as you do these, you're going to work side to side nice and fluidly. I want you to step through, plant your feet about shoulder width in between each lunge. Now you want to make sure that this feels good on your joints. So if you're having some trouble with that crossover or curtsy lunge, you can go ahead and modify. You can start with the feet in the same position and you can do a rear lunge instead. So when you do your rear lunges, you're just stepping straight back. And again, it's going to work the muscles around the hips and knees. So we're keeping the torso nice and tall. Some other options you have is to do this without the weights. So just to show you, if you want to do without the weights, go ahead and just plant your hands on your hips and keep your repetitions going. So again, you're either doing the curtsy lunge or you're doing the rear lunge. We're going to do one more on each side, and then we're going to shake the legs out. Okay, so hopefully you're feeling that. You can always stop if you can't get through all the repetitions that I'm doing, but what we're going to do is go ahead and go into a second set, planting the feet the same way. Keep a tall torso, keep your chin lifted, and we'll go back to our squats. So again, with the squats, you've got your weight into your heels. Your knees should be behind your toes. So you can see when I go down, I'm getting as low as I can, and I still have the strength to get back up again. Keep the core strong, keep the shoulders pulled back, and keep your chin either level or slightly elevated. And the squats can be done without the weights as well. If you decide you want to just tone this down a little bit, go ahead and take the weights, set them aside, and you can do your set with your hands at your hips just like we did on the curtsy lunges. So we'll do one more here. Okay, and then shake it out a little bit. And again, we're setting up for curtsy lunges. So feet in the same starting position. You're gonna step back, come through, keep the torso tall, and work fluidly from side to side. What I like to watch when I'm coming through each time is that I keep my feet parallel and about shoulder distance as I come through. You can glance down and then go into that next repetition. So we're gonna do 2 more on each side. If you don't like the curtsy lunges, remember you have the option of doing those rear lunges instead. Okay, and then shake those legs out a little bit. Next, I'm gonna have you grab a glider. If you don't have a glider, you're gonna use a paper plate, and we're gonna use a table, a countertop, or the back of a chair for support here. So I'm gonna put my glider on the floor. I'm gonna put my right ball of my foot on the glider. I'm gonna keep my torso lifted. Now from here, I'm gonna bend my left knee to glide that right leg back, and then pull forward. As I pull forward, I'm engaging both my core and my left hip muscle groups. Keeping the torso nice and tall, and the fingertips light. So the goal isn't to pull forward with the arms, it's actually to make the leg muscles work. That left leg is my working leg right now. Hopefully you guys are feeling this. We're going to do 2 more on this side and then we'll switch. You should get some nice hip flexor stretch back into that right leg. And then bring it up. Okay, we're going to do a foot change. So if you're on tile or wood floor, paper plates work really well. You can do it on carpeting too, just use the shiny side of that plate. Now it's up to you how far back you're going to go. That's going to depend on a couple of different things. One is flexibility, and the other is strength. So you'll listen to your body on this. We always want to listen to our body. Make sure nothing hurts. You shouldn't feel any pain in your joints or in your muscles when you're going through these exercises. I want you to feel like your muscles are working, but it's not painful. And we'll do 2 more on this side. I'm really thinking about pulling up with my right leg this time, and then we're going to come back to the center. So we'll come back to that glider in a minute. First, I'm going to have you grab your weights again. You're going to take your toes and turn them out wide this time. Keep your torso tall. And you're going to drop down into what we call a sumo squat. So with this squat, it's a little wider foot placement, but you still want to keep your weight into your heels. If it's uncomfortable to put the weights behind, you can go ahead and just put those weights in front. Another option on this one, some people like to put the weights up at their shoulders, if that helps you keep the torso lifted better. But it's the same idea as that first set of squats. Now you're going to work some inner thigh muscles here, as well as the hips, strengthening around the knees. And we'll do 2 more. Okay, and then bring the waist down, walk it in, give it a little shake out. And we're going to go back to our glider. So grab that paper plate or glider, stand tall, you're going to slide back. Again, it's the left leg that's doing the work as you pull up. We want to stay really light on the hands. As you get better at this, you may find that you don't need to hold on. But at first, I always give people that option because I want you to get the form down first. Make sure you're doing it correctly, engaging the right muscles, and then after that, you can take it to the next level. This is nice because you're stretching the right leg and strengthening the left. A lot of multitasking. So we'll do 3 more on this leg. Keep your core engaged. Every time you pull up, you'll feel your core working. Last one. Good, and then switch it out. So again, start with a tall torso. The ball of the left foot is on the paper plate or glider. Stretch it back. Really strong coming up. So this is our last set with the gliders. Make sure you're breathing. I usually recommend you exhale as you're pulling forward. So right here, I'm going to exhale. Inhale, going back. And it's good just to check in with your breathing every now and then. Make sure you're getting the oxygen flow through to the muscles. Otherwise, they can't do the work we're asking them to do. And we'll do one more. And bring it in. Okay, so let's go back to those sumo squats. Again, with or without weights. Second and final set here. You're gonna keep the torso tall. I'm gonna go ahead and take the weights up to my shoulders because that's just my preference. And then I'm gonna drop down into the squat. You also wanna be mindful that you're putting equal weight on both legs here. Sometimes if you've had an injury, could be knee, hip, or ankle, you might tend to favor one side. So we want to make sure that we're working symmetrically, trying to improve our strength, in a balanced way. Balance out the body so it functions better for us. We're going to do 3 more here. Working a pretty slow pace so you can really get down into those reps and think about form. Let's do 1 more. And then we'll bring it up, bring the weights down, shake it out a little bit. So for the next set of exercises, you're gonna need 1 dumbbell. Keep that table handy. What we're gonna do here is a single leg deadlift, so it has a balance element. So I'm gonna have you start out with 1 hand right over the table in case you need it. You're gonna stand with your weight in your left hand. You're gonna put your weight on your left foot, bend that knee. So from there, the right leg goes back, you're gonna tip forward, and then pull up nice and tall. So as far as I lower my torso, I am bringing that leg up behind me. So this is going to target hamstrings, glutes, and core. You want to make sure that you get a good knee bend on the leg that you're standing on. It works really well to exhale right here as you're pulling up. So we're going to do 3 more on this side. And 1 more. And bring it up. Okay, so we're going to go to the other side. Now, if you do it with that table in front of you, that works just as well. So I'm going to switch arms, switch legs, and then I'm going to show you how to do that with the table in front. So again, I'm pulling up. I'm going to tip forward the same way, and then pull up through. Now, the leg that I'm standing on is the working leg. So that's what you want to focus on. If your legs are getting a little shaky, that's okay. That means your muscles might be fatiguing, which is normal, they're working out. We want that. That's how we get stronger. Again, the core is a really important part of this movement. Make sure that you are holding strong through the core, through the torso. And we're going to do 2 more. There you go. So those are balanced out. Now you're going to go ahead and get your weights. And you have the option again, of course, of doing this with or without weights. But As I step away from the table, I'm going to show you how to do a side lunge, stepping to your left. So you're going to come off that center position, bend that knee, and then push back. Now again, I'm going to try to keep my torso tall. As I bring the weights down, I'm not trying to touch them to the floor. I'm just trying to bend that left knee. So really working into the hip complex here. It's important to do side movements because most of the time, just functionally in life, we're doing what? We're walking forward and back, mostly forward in that plane. So we want to strengthen our muscles through different planes of motion to keep the joints at their best. So we'll do 2 more here. Now you could do this without the weights. And again, just put your hands at your hips if you'd rather. And then we're going to go to the other side. So step lunge, bend that right knee, and push. So here too, if you notice my feet, I am keeping my feet parallel. So rather than allowing that leg to turn out, keeping the hip nice and straight. That alignment is tricky sometimes when you're first learning this one, but it's really important in order to target the right muscles. So we'll do 2 more here. Excellent. Okay, so we're going to put one leg down, go back to our single leg deadlift and repeat. So I'm going to be on my left leg with the weight in my left hand, bend that knee, hinge forward from the waist, and exhale, pulling up. So you can challenge yourself. Maybe the fingers just hover over that table. Maybe you don't really need to use the table for balance, but it's there for you just in case. You're always going to take our workouts and use them to maximize your benefit, your fitness level. You can tweak and modify a little bit to make things harder or easier. You can use a heavier weight if you want to make this harder. Take the table away if your balance is pretty good. And we'll do 2 more here. And 1 more. Okay, and then I'm going to switch feet and turn. And I've got the other leg going back. Exhale, coming up. Bending into the right leg. Focusing on quads, glutes, hamstrings, and core. So this is our last set of deadlifts. Hopefully you're feeling your legs by now. And we'll do the last 2. Excellent. So let's go back to the lateral lunge. I'm going to shift no weight version this time, starting with the hands on the hips, going to the left. My feet are parallel. My torso stays tall. And I'm trying to get as much bend into the knee and hip here, but still track the knee behind the toes. Some people like to put the hands in front here. They feel more comfortable than, at the waistline. So if you want to try that, that's just another version. Keeping the torso tall. I'm really pulling my belly in and up as I do my repetitions. And we're going to go to the other side. So you're going to feel some stretch into the groin. That's normal here. I don't want you to feel too much stretch on the extended leg. So just enough that it's noticeable, but don't go so low that you feel it's overstretching. And if you haven't done an exercise like this, you might feel a little soreness tomorrow, but that's normal too. Good to stretch on the days in between the strength training sessions. And almost done. And last one. Okay, so shake that out, just kind of be noticing how your legs feel. We have one more set of exercises, this time on a mat. So we are going to go ahead and lay down on the floor. I'm going to have you start just by pulling your knees into your chest. A little bit back stretch, a little reward from what you've been doing. We're going to set up for bridging. Your feet are going to be inside shoulder distance. Your arms are going to be down by your side. So you're going to pelvic tilt and lift your hips off the mat. Now we're going to hold that bridge, just pressing lightly into the arms. You should feel the strengthening up the back side of the body. These are good for the knees, strengthening the glutes, strengthening the core. It's a back extension, so it's really good for your spine. You should be pain-free when you're doing this. If you feel pressure on the neck, lower it a little bit and just modify so you're not so high. Otherwise, we're going to stay lifted. We're going to shift the weight into our right leg and extend the left leg out. Now, this is a little bit more advanced. If you want to keep both feet on the mat, you can. So you've got options there. Otherwise, we're just really pushing through, working that leg that's on the floor, trying to keep the hips level. And we're going to bring that foot down, shift your weight to the other side, and then you can extend this leg. So we're trying to keep our thighs parallel to each other. They're not touching, we still have space between the knees. The bottom leg is really doing the work to keep the hips lifted. Almost done. And then you're going to bring that foot down. Re-engage your glutes to lift your bridge a little bit higher. We're holding right here. Just go ahead and take a nice deep breath in and out. Real strong glutes and core. And the last 10 seconds. One more breath. And then you're going to try to roll down from the top of your spine down. When your hips are on the floor, you can pull your knees into your chest again. Get a little release across the lower back, maybe rock from side to side, feels great. Come back to the middle. You're going to either roll onto your side to sit up or use your legs to roll yourself up. And that completes the leg workout for today. So thanks for joining me. If you want to go through again because you haven't had enough yet, just go ahead and repeat this and you'll get a second round on that whole workout. Have a great day, you guys. Bye-bye. Hi, True members, welcome. I am here today to go through a core and ab workout with you. So I am just using my own body weight for most of these exercises. And then I've got a ball handy. You can use a dumbbell, a water bottle, whatever you have at home if you want that extra resistance. We are gonna go ahead and start seated with our feet at the end of the mat, knees bent. I want you to have lots of space behind you, and we're going to take that ball or whatever your prop is in front. Now I'm going to curl my back and roll down. I'm going to take the ball overhead, get a nice stretch through the torso without lifting the spine, and then I'm going to curl up. When I get to the top, keep my chest lifted, tall spine, and then twist, twist. So again, we're going to roll it back, keeping the knees bent. I'm keeping my heels on the mat for this. Roll it up, it's very controlled in both directions, and twist, twist. So it will become obvious to you that if you start light and then work your way up into heavier weight, you work harder. So find the level that challenges you, and you can still follow correct form. I'm really thinking about peeling off the mat and then coiling down. pulling the navel in towards the spine, and then just check in with your breathing. We want to get a nice deep breath going back and a nice deep breath coming forward. So once you get to the back, you can take a little inhale and then exhale when you come up, just to complete that repetition. We're going to do that one more time. And very good, we're going to go to the next exercise. So again, we're rolling back. When I get to the back, I'm going to pause, and then I'm going to bring the ball forward the same way, but I'm going to bring my right leg up and then back down as I roll back. Big exhale, left leg up and back down. Really controlled in both directions. Lifting that leg. Thinking about those lower ab muscles working when you lift the leg. My exhale is right there. Option to not use any props at all. And we'll do our last one here. And then we're going to stay seated. So I'm tipped back, and here I'm going to start working side to side. So this may feel like a little bit faster pace, because it is. It's a smaller motion. We're keeping the spine tall even though we're tipped back. Now, if you want a more difficult version of this, you're going to go ahead and pick the feet up, cross the ankles, and you're going to work side to side. Again, more weight is going to make this more difficult. And we'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, back to the center. So, lying down next, I'm going to put the ball between my knees. You won't hold a weight between your knees, but if you have a weighted ball, you can do this with that. I'm going to take my hands behind my head, curl my shoulders up, and then bring my feet up as well. Now I'm going into a reverse curl where I'm really rolling my spine, lower spine off the mat. So keeping the upper body still and lifted. I'm bringing my knees as close to me as I can, and then I'm just getting a little bit of a tap with the feet there on the mat. Just a little bit of a tap. If you feel this in your lower back, don't go as far. So you're going to modify, and you're going to go to here. Okay, just find the range of motion that works for you. And we're going to do 3 more. Exhale 2. Exhale 1. Okay, and then you're going to take the ball up, starting with the ball in the air. The legs are going to come back up, ankles crossed. You're going to curl up, and we're going to do little pulses. Reach, reach. Now, if you need head support for this, you can just set the ball aside or tuck it in, and you're going to place your fingertips behind your head. Keep your elbows wide and do your pulses that way. Hopefully you're starting to feel a little bit of heat in there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we're going to take the ball in the air, start with the knees bent, and do a bicycle. So as I do this, I'm really targeting those lower abs with the legs moving. If you need to make this a little bit easier, keep the bicycle in closer. If you need to put your head down because your neck is fatiguing, go ahead and do that version. You could still take the legs out. And we'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we're going to set that prop aside. Take your arms down by your side, take the legs up. We're going to do what we call elevators, which is just the smallest motion coming from those deep core muscles. Sometimes we'll refer to our lower abs, and that's what you're working here. If you picture from hip to hip, you have a horizontal muscle. You're working deep into that area. Elevators can also be done with your head lifted, so if you're going to do that, you've got your hands behind your head. Keeping the shoulders curled up and just keeping the upper body nice and still. Make sure you're breathing. It's a really small motion, but it's really effective. From here, we're going to go into a flutter kick, a little bit more advanced. The legs go out and you're pumping. If you want to, you can take the hands behind, head down. I like the version with the head up. And we'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then the knees come into the chest. And it's going to feel really good to do a bridge. I want you to think about engaging your core with your glutes on the bridge. You've got your arms down by your side. You're going to peel your hips off the mat, tighten the glutes, and hold. Now, if you wanted to, you could use the ball between the knees. You could use a towel there, or whatever you have. If you have a yoga block, sometimes just something to place between the knees to press into, and that's going to engage your adductor muscles. And you're working all of that pelvic floor, lower ab region with the inner thighs. And we're gonna hold 5 more counts. 4, 3, 2, 1. And then you're gonna try to articulate your spine on the way down. 1 vertebra at a time. And pull your knees into your chest. So from here, I'm gonna have you roll up, lay on your side. We're gonna do planking. When you do side planking, you wanna make sure that your shoulder is healthy. If this bothers your shoulder, I've got modifications, and I will demonstrate those here. So we're gonna start with the feet stacked, the body's in a straight line, just line yourself up with the mat. And we're gonna go up into that plank, hand on the hip, or you can position it on the floor, and we're just holding the plank. Modifications would be staggering the feet or bending the bottom knee. What we're trying to do is lift and elevate through the waistline so that we're working those oblique muscles, working the side of the torso. We're gonna hold 10 more counts. Whatever position works for you, that's what you want to use here. Challenge yourself safely. And bring it down. Now we're gonna go into a side leg lift. So I'm gonna have you lay all the way down with your head tucked on your arm, and then we're gonna make sure the legs are straight out from the body, and we're gonna do a double leg lift. When you do this, your focus is on the side of the body. Exhale, lift. Think about lifting from the waist. Should be starting to feel that waist. This side here is working. We'll do 2 more, and then we're gonna finish with an isometric hold at the top. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it down, bend your knees, press yourself up. Quick change over to the other side. Back in position, legs straight. Go right into those lifts. We'll save the side plank on this side for afterwards. Exhale, lift. Again, really light on the arms. Think about the waistline. Keep the legs together. The legs are moving as a unit as far as you can go. 2 more. Up and hold. Make sure you're breathing. Almost done. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it down. Get set for side plank, whichever leg position you want. You can take this hand to the hip. You want to make sure your hips are stacked. You can take the arm in the air if you'd rather. And remember, the easiest version of this is to come down to your knee. So if you're on the knee, you've got more support. It's less load on the shoulder. The elbows should be positioned right under the shoulder. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, bring it down. The last thing we're gonna do is turn over so we're face down. Take one leg behind, and then the other, and you're in a push-up plank. If you need to, you can do this on your forearms, which is gonna look like this. And you can just hold that plank, or you can do an alternating leg lift. When you do these, you wanna make sure your body's staying nice and still. The hips should be still. They're not rocking. And then the last version of this is a side tap. You can do this either in the forearm plank or the push-up plank. Keeping the chin away from the chest. Your eyes should be right there on the mat in between your hands. And finish your last one. Come to your knees, and we'll do a little back stretch just to release the tightness if you built any up through the core workout. Remember, the stretching is just as important as the strengthening. And then as you slide your hands in, you can give yourself a hand. We are done with that core and ab workout. Have a great day.